It is therefore said, Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovidaha. An intelligent person should try to spread Krishna consciousness through the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, and all the necessities of life will automatically follow. A message especially for householders this morning. He asked us. One of the important points mentioned here in the purport is in terms of simplicity. Vedic culture gives tremendous importance to living a simple life. We should utilize as ordained by Krishna, means knowing and understanding Krishna's arrangement. It actually means understanding, one must understand the basic laws of nature. Laws of nature means dharma, isn't it? Dharma means the natural laws given by Krishna. There are natural laws that pertain to our spiritual self, our spiritual identity. For example, we cannot actually experience real happiness unless we become spiritually awakened, isn't it? Because happiness belongs to the soul. Happiness is the domain of the Atma, of the spirit soul. Satchitananda Vigraha, Ananda. So no one actually can be happy unless they are Krishna conscious. That's on one level. And also no one can really be happy unless one knows Krishna's natural laws, material laws. This is a theme that we'll be elaborating on more during our seminar, actually, next few days. How there is, and this is unknown in modern day society, and possibly also less understood amongst our own devotees, there's meant to be a very close and intimate link and connection, working relationship between these two levels, the spiritual level and the material level. Prabhupada speaks about both here, actually. Although sometimes devotees will come out of a purport like this and say, you see, Prabhupada said, just chant Hare Krishna. So I have to do chant Hare Krishna. Of course, that is the basis of all activities. And it is the essence of what we should be doing in Kali Yuga. Kalir dosharide rajan nasti heka mahan guna kirtanadeva krishnasya mukta sangha param rajat. In so many places, as instructed also by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that is actually the essence in Kali Yuga. But that doesn't mean that we just sit down 24 hours and chant the holy name. I mean, if somebody can do that, all glories. But Srila Prabhupada mentioned that personalities like Haridas Thakur are few and, they're very rare. So, Prabhupada said something. Prabhupada said so many wonderful things, of course. One of the interesting things which sometimes devotees may be less aware of, in one conversation, Srila Prabhupada explains, Lord Chaitanya, he had nothing to do with this material world. He's God, right? And he demonstrated by his personal example, by being totally, completely, 100% absorbed in a mood of separation, isn't it? From Vrindavan and all that is taking place in Vrindavan. So Prabhupada says, but we cannot imitate. We will not do like Lord Chaitanya. We will actually deal with matter as it is ordained by Krishna. We will actually do both things. We will absorb ourselves, of course, spiritually, but we will not neglect. We will actually deal with, and this is where, for example, the message that is given here this morning, householders, it is especially their duty and responsibility to take what is naturally given by Krishna. There are what we call gifts of nature, natural gifts of nature. Modern day society, we have forgotten about this. Modern day leaders, scientists and whatnot, Prabhupada explains here how foolish people try to do something better than what nature actually is given. Just like one time Prabhupada says, actually we don't need cars. Actually we would, in so many ways, be much better without cars. Of course, if you tell that to ordinary people, they will say you're crazy. We can't move, we can't do anything without cars, and that's part of our problem. We can't do anything without all kinds of machines. And in this way we've created a whole society, a civilization that is totally dependent on something that is very artificial. We have taken ourselves away, we have disconnected ourselves with what is natural, isn't it? And we have become more and more, by our association, isn't it? We know very much about the value and importance of association. So our goal as devotees is to associate with devotees, to associate with what will help us to remember Krishna. Modern day society, we are associating most of the time, too often, with different kinds of machines, isn't it? And therefore we become machine-like as well. So these instructions, so many important, very essential instructions given in this section of the Bhagavatam by Narada Muni, are of, I would say, paramount importance for us in today's world, because we have swayed away, we have totally, practically speaking, totally disconnected with how we are meant to live. And therefore, this is a theme that will be a recurring theme, I would say, again in the seminars, that we have disconnected ourselves with both the spiritual and the material dimension of life. And we within our ISKCON society have yet to understand. It's actually very essential. It's like we have the perfect philosophy. We have the perfect knowledge. Prabhupada explains, and that is there in the Bhagavad Gita, idam tute guyatamam pravakshami anasuya vijnanam vijnanam. These are two important aspects. Jnanam, knowledge, which generally is more theoretical knowledge. But the vijnanam, we have to come to the vijnanam, the application of that knowledge, isn't it? So many things, of course, we are doing as devotees. It's like, we're devotees, we know so many things, and then every day we attend different programs, we chant the holy name, we apply. Of course, how we apply, what is the quality of that application, that's another topic. But that's on one level, especially the spiritual level. We have yet to really understand how to apply on the material level. And that is also very important. How to apply our philosophy in terms of what we are hearing. Otherwise, it's like what we hear from the Bhagavatam, if it's not lived, if it's not experienced in our daily lives, then there's going to be what we call a disconnect, right? We hear all of this philosophy, but we don't see it fully in practice. So this is our challenge, actually, as devotees. And it's a major challenge, actually, because today the world is devoid of both of these levels. Is devoid of the spiritual understanding that life actually is meant for self-realization, that actually the Lord has, through the material nature, the way the world is set up, created everything, established systems and laws, which are actually very simple and pleasing. When we harmonize with Krishna's nature, isn't it like all of us, we all know, I mean, something very basic, that before becoming devotees, for those of us who are not born in a Vaishnava family, which is most people from the Western world anyways, India, it's a different story, but most of us from the Western world were just not born in Vaishnava families. So, so we know the difference between, before becoming devotees and after becoming devotees. I mean, if we're still, all of us who are here, it means that we're still finding something interesting in Krishna consciousness, otherwise we would be gone. So we can understand, we can see that difference. In modern day society, most people are still without this knowledge, and therefore it's a very critical situation. They're devoid of the spiritual knowledge and also devoid of the material knowledge, of the material science, or how we should be dealing with our body, for example, to begin with, isn't it? How to live, simple things like how to live a regulated life, how to rise early in the morning so that one can have darshan of the sun, Of course, here in Sweden, it's a different story. I mean, I was looking at the Brahma Muhurta the other day. I mean, every day I get is around between 2 and 3 o'clock or something, if not earlier. And then we had a tricky situation with breakfast the other day, yesterday, right? Between 5:53 and 5:50. No, was it 3:53 and 3:58? 5 minutes you had to break. Anyways. But it's important for us to actually learn these many wonderful, systems that Krishna has created. It's part of this material creation. The more we know about so many things, and maybe I'll just finish on this point to leave a few minutes possibly for some comments or questions. The more we learn about what Krishna is teaching us, both spiritually and materially, then the more we can be in harmony, with ourselves, with nature, with others. This is a very major point as well. It has to do with establishing proper relationships, and that's a major theme, of course, which is fundamental in our Krishna consciousness. It is one of 3 levels. Prabhupada explains that summarizes actually our whole philosophy. It has to do with jnana, of course, sambandha jnana. Sambandha jnana, abhidheya jnana, prayojana jnana. Our whole philosophy of Krishna consciousness is summarized, and therefore very important, as we endeavor to do every day, to hear something from Bhagavatam, to deepen our understanding of what Srila Prabhupada is, along with other acharyas, what they are trying to explain so that we can, as they say, get it, understand it, and then apply it. And then as we apply Krishna consciousness, as we demonstrate by our personal example in our personal lives, and this was something Srila Prabhupada also explained that was very important, then other people, other devotees, and then common people, they will see and they will become attractive. So inasmuch as Krishna is all attractive, Krishna's devotees are also meant to attract, isn't it? The common people in this more simplified lifestyle of Krishna consciousness, which is, of course, based on the chanting of the holy name, but which is meant to go beyond. In one sense, there's no beyond the holy name. There's no beyond Krishna, but there are different, we could say, expansions of that in terms of daily applications from that practice of the chanting of the holy name. There are many more things to be said, obviously, but to be fair, although there's a very short time, if there's any question or comment, yes.
When you say you need both the spiritual and material knowledge,
yes.
So from what source we should get the material knowledge?
Good question. One of the topics we'll be discussing is education, specifically traditional education. Traditional education gives us both spiritual and material knowledge. And the source of that spiritual and material knowledge are the Vedas, Shastra. And Srila Prabhupada has, on many occasions, explained all the knowledge you need are in my books and other books written by Vaishnavas. So we should formulate our educational curriculum based on Shastra. But if we want to live and continue living the modern, artificial, dangerous, unsustainable, etc. lifestyle, modern lifestyle, we have to study other things. So that's our choice. So I mean, simply it means that the material knowledge, all the material knowledge, is something important we should know. All the material knowledge we need to live simply and to fulfill, to meet all of our material necessities and spiritual needs as well, it is there in the Shastra. And therefore we need brahmanas, we need qualified brahmanas who will be able to study material things without getting, diverted, but who will understand that there are many material sciences that we need actually to survive. Like cooking, like food. Prabhupada said, right, first is food. First is food. I mean, now it's time for prasadam. First is prasadam. But there's a whole science how to grow food, which today we're making, as we all know. We're not actually getting food. Somebody was telling me yesterday, the day before, somebody's come out with some statistics or survey that, 90%, very high percentage of what we eat is like plastic. Plastic means it's like petroleum base, or, we know polluted in so many ways, contaminated, all the artificial, chemical fertilizers and pesticides that are being used. Our food is largely poison. It's a big subject matter, but the answer is that all the knowledge we need is there in the Shastra. If we live as we should live. Yeah. Any other quick? Yes.
Thank you for this wonderful class. Can you describe us some law of the nature for making good yagya?
For making?
Good yagya.
Which yagya?
You said that for make good food.
Good yagya.
Good yagya.
A good yagya.
Yeah, yeah.
Good yagya.
Yeah, to get good food, you have to do a good yagya.
Some
How to
law.
make good yagya?
Well, the best yagya, of course, is to chant the holy name. But, you mean to grow food or to cook?
To grow.
To cook.
To grow.
To grow.
Yes.
To grow. There's a whole science, which is there in our Shastra also, how to grow food. And one requires cows for that also. The whole science about, soil. I mean, I'm not going to start a whole course.
No, my question is to know the different. Sometimes we speak about the law of nature.
Yes.
What's there?
So the laws of nature are there. Our sages, our acharyas have written, just like there's a book called, what is it? Vriksha Ayurveda. Vriksha means tree, Ayurveda, Vriksha Ayurveda. That is the science of trees, plants, and herbs. I'll make some reference to that in the seminars also. Just like, the science of Ayurveda in terms of health. So all of this knowledge is actually there, how to grow food, how to like forest. That's a whole big topic. Forests are so important, you see. So all of this knowledge is there, but I mean, in terms of details, some of those can come out in the seminar, and we can possibly give some references, because these are important things, of course, we should learn and study as well. Our time is up, and before I get a note, Hare Krishna. Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai.